Hello everyone, welcome to Royal News Network. My name is Brittany and today we're going to be talking about the first leg of Prince William and Catherine's tour of the Caribbean. We're going to be talking about what they did in Belize and I'm so excited to share some of it with you. I was going to do this video earlier and then I wasn't feeling super great yesterday and I'm so glad I didn't because we got a little extra nugget today which I think makes this video maybe a little bit better. So I'm so excited to share with you a bit about what they were up to and what they were doing. It looked like they had a fantastic time and now they are in Jamaica in the second leg of their tour and I will do a video about the Jamaica leg when it's done. So if you guys are interested in royal news, gossip, fashion, jewelry, history, even television shows and movies, we do it all here on Royal News Network. We have a grand plan in place. We're slowly building up to it. So if you guys want to give a subscribe, that would be fantastic. And without further ado, let's get started. All right, guys, so the couple landed in Belize in kind of the late-ish afternoon and they disembarked from the plane and Catherine was wearing a peplum outfit from Jenny Packham, which was blue and lace. It kind of matched the flag of the state. And Prince William was also dressed in a bit of light blue. And so when they caught off the plane, obviously it was kind of later in the day and they met with the Prime Minister, Johnny Briceño. And they had a little bit of a chat with him and his wife and they took some pictures. So there wasn't very much the first day. Obviously it was a really long flight and I believe they were a bit delayed as well, but they did have a kind of military formal greeting when they got there. That's usually what happens when royals arrive in country. And so it was really great to see them get kind of that great arrival. And it's so exciting to have people back doing tours. Oh my gosh, I so miss royal tours. Do you miss royal tours? Just let me know in the comments if you do. Royal tours are just so much fun because you see people kind of out of their environment and you know they have kind of a packed day and so you get just so much great opportunity to see kind of what royals do, which you might say it's probably not much, but they do a great job of really kind of the purpose of these tours is really to ingratiate themselves and really build relationships with the people in these countries, specifically the Commonwealth countries. Obviously, part of this tour is in celebration of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, which will be later this year in June. I'm going and I'm going to be covering it for Royal News Network. So if you guys are interested, again, in that, I'll have some exclusive content. Again, subscribe. That would be great. We're closing in on 1,000, which is so exciting. Anyways, and so they go on these tours really to help kind of build these relationships between these various countries, Commonwealth countries where the Queen has had a stay. And they're doing this in part because they know the Queen is kind of at this point within the twilight of her reign and she probably won't be around for too much longer, very, very sadly. And so this is a way to kind of prepare the stage for King Charles and then eventually King William as well. And so these tours are incredibly important for William and Catherine to go on and to really just jump in and really engage with these people. And I think Kate and William did a fantastic job of that in Belize. So the first day was a little slow, but the second day, oh my gosh, y'all, it was awesome. So they went to a cocoa farm where they got to taste some of the cocoa. They showed them how they did it in kind of the Mayan days a bit. Mayan chocolate is kind of a big thing down there. And so they were able to kind of enjoy that. And I believe both of them made little quips about how much their children would have loved to enjoy the chocolate while they were there. And I have to agree, it's so sad we haven't seen the Cambridge children out on tour since Poland in 2017. Guys, it's been so long. Prince Louis wasn't even born yet. And so he is the only Cambridge child not to have gone on tour. And so I really hope one day we get to see all the kids on tour. That would be absolutely fantastic. And so it was great to see them chat about it. Catherine wore a very summery dress and she wore some shoes, Stuart Weitzman, that she's had before. And we'll do a whole rundown about my thoughts on the fashion on Fashion Friday. Obviously, we won't see every fashion piece, but we'll go over them on Friday. And so it was just a really great time. And then they kind of went to the village of Hopkins and there they really got to enjoy time with the locals and they did some dancing. And so it was really, really cute. Catherine did kind of this flirty dance towards William. And obviously they had 3 children, but we are all hoping for Cambridge baby number 4. They make adorable, adorable babies. And Catherine seems to really, really, truly be missing the baby stage. And so it would be just lovely to see the little Cambridge kids. That would be fantastic. And so another Cambridge child. So They clearly had a lot of fun. Prince William also got really into it. Apparently he is a very good dancer. And so they really just seem to engage with these people and this community, which is fantastic. That's what royals are supposed to do, is really engage and become really kind of representatives of the monarchy and the Queen, and eventually King Charles and King William himself. And so pretty soon the kids will be going on tour. Oh my gosh, guys. Anyways, and so they just seem to have a really, really fantastic time. So I'll just splice in a couple of the clips of various videos, and thank you to all the royal reporters who posted these. These are all fantastic. So take a look. All right, guys, what did you think? Did you enjoy them? I just think it's so fun to see royals kind of trying to let loose a bit. I know, especially for Catherine, she's always been very uptight. And so it's great to see her kind of relax and finally be more confident in her role as a future monarch. She's really, I think, been one of the ones that kind of really struggled with how do you be royal, and she like didn't ever want to put a foot out of place. And she's pretty much stuck to that. She's basically never stepped out of the royal protocol. She's done it exceptionally well. And so she and William were both obviously having a lot of fun, and there's just some pictures where they just look like they're truly having a joyful time, which is fantastic. And then obviously conservation is a huge part of Prince William's platform. He started the Earthshot Prize in 2020 with the goal of eventually, I believe it's in 2030, he wants to, you know, kind of eliminate carbon emissions as much as possible and try to help save the environment, which is a fantastic thing. And so they went ahead and they planted a tree, and they had a discussion about there's a reef outside of kind of the area that we were in, which we'll get to later. And the couple really, you know, shared their hearts, I think, for this topic. It's a huge passion of William's. He's done a lot with it recently, and he's even gone to Dubai, and eventually as well he will be coming to the States with Catherine, maybe even the kids, and they'll be doing a big Earthshot Prize event here in the United States, which is great. And it kind of, you know, follows Harry's track. He started the Invictus Games in the UK and then moved into the US next year. Obviously, we have in the United States huge infrastructure for big events. We have so many different stadiums and various things. So it's great that Prince William is getting out here and is continuing this even on his tours. All right, guys, so day 2 got a late start. So I kept waiting for day 2 to start, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it just seemed to never start. But it finally did, and they started off at a Mayan ruin. And let me look up the name of it again real quick. So this is according to People magazine. They were in the Chibuli forest, where they learned about the history of the stunning Kana Palace temple, which was called the Sky Palace. The couple had very much a casual look, and Kate in particular had this kind of boss babe pose at one point. She did that kind of in Denmark too. I don't know how she's gotten into this habit of doing the boss babe pose, but she really has. It's just so great to see her finally gain the confidence that she really needs to and really embrace her role. I mean, it's a hard, challenging thing to be a future kind of monarch in training, and she has, you know, 3 young children, and it appears like her and William are raising them really, really well. And so they enjoyed these ruins. I believe at one point they kind of got to the top and said, wow. They walked up the steps, and it looked like neither one of them were breaking a sweat, especially Catherine. But of course, they're both very athletic, very competitive. So they kind of climbed up the steps of these ruins. Okay, so the Mayan ruins are cacao. People was wrong. I knew it. I knew it sounded wrong, but that's what I get for going with people. Anyways, they used to call Kate Princess Kate, and it used to drive me bonkers. Like, at least call her Duchess Kate. She's technically Duchess Kate. She doesn't really even have that title. She doesn't have any legal precedence really to that. She doesn't own that title in her own right. That's how the British work. It's weird. Anyways, and so they were at this temple, and it was home to, at one point, 140,000 people and stretched more than 70 square miles. It was even bigger than the modern day Belize city. And it was abandoned around the year 900. And so, but it still covers about 25,000 acres. And, you know, the Mayans are really fascinating because they kind of got to this point where they had built these enormous structures. I mean, they're still kind of trying to see if in certain forested areas, they're still finding things that could be ruins. Like, because things have grown up so much, it kind of camouflages. And so you need special kind of ground, it's not really ground penetrating radar, but you need a certain level of radar or sonoscope or something, I don't know. Anyways, and so they kind of look, oh, topography machine, something. They need something. Anyways, so they go and they're able to kind of see deeper in these jungles, because some of these jungles are so thick now that they can't access them easily. And so things are camouflaged that you don't know. This location was discovered, I believe, in the early 1900s, maybe 1908, or I think I also saw it sometime in the 1930s. And so they found these and like, well, hey, what do we do with these? And the Mayan culture, I've always wanted to visit the Mayan ruins. I've never really had a desire to visit Mexico's beaches. I go to Hawaii, but I really want to see some Mayan ruins, because I think it's absolutely fascinating, because they were this huge, massive culture, and then they kind of collapsed overnight. I believe the number one theory is kind of deforestation and maybe plague or something, because it collapsed before the Europeans got there, because the Aztecs were there when the Europeans were there, because that was Hernando Cortez. Anyways, I'm getting off track. So hopefully you don't hold that against me. Anyways, so they enjoyed these ruins, and they just were able to walk around and really kind of learn more about it. I mean, it would be great to get a self-guided tour of ruins like that. I mean, that would be my dream. Anyways, so they joined some British forces who were doing some trainings in the forest as well. And so they were kind of able to learn some survival skills. We didn't get as many pictures of that. It seems like maybe they only had one or two photographers with them, or perhaps even just their own personal photographer went with them. And so that was a part of the day that we didn't get to see much. And then they had a reception later in the day, and Catherine nailed her look for the reception. I kind of love the metallic gown of this. It's from The Vampire's Wife. I kind of love the metallic gown, and a little bit of like a tail it has like these long ties in the back, and it looks kind of like a tail. So it's kind of, I don't know, enchanting in a way with the color and the sparkle, and the tail is just kind of very interesting. So I really did like that. And so Prince William gave this speech, and he mentioned a lot and gave a lot of praise to his grandmother, who's done really, really fantastic work of keeping the Commonwealth together, despite, you know, it spanning continents and a lot of strife. Obviously, I'll cover it more in Jamaica, because I think it made the news more in Jamaica, that there were some very prominent protests against them visiting, claiming colonization, reparations, and all these sorts of things. And so that's really something they have to navigate, unfortunately, because there's not really just a ton they can do. This is obviously something that a small minority group of people were really upset about. Kate and William, just a preview, had a fantastic reception by the people of Jamaica. They were very excited to see them there, because we all do everybody loves the fantasy of a prince and princess, let's be honest. So Prince William gave a speech at the reception, and he really focused on not only his grandmother's legacy, but also what is happening in Ukraine and the threat to democracy that poses. So the prince said, referring to the Queen, she said, "I am proud to associate myself with your determination that social justice and personal freedom should flourish under the rule of law. It is always dangerous, however, to be complacent and to assume that democratic values will look after themselves." Her Majesty went on to say, most of all, democracy is self-guarded by teamwork, the individual wills of all citizens, each pulling together towards the same objective. Sadly, elsewhere in the world, that vigilance is being tested today in Ukraine. Belize has joined many others in condemning the invasion and standing up for the principles of international law and peace and security. Today, we think of those struggling in Ukraine, and we stand with them in solidarity. He also wanted to express his grandmother's very warmest wishes. And so it was really just kind of a fantastic event. It looked like they had a wonderful, wonderful time, but and they, flew out kind of later in the next morning. And Catherine looks stunning again. She wore a YSL vintage piece that she purchased in college, which is crazy that we've never seen that. Again, we will go over more of her fashion later this week. But the big thing was yesterday, though, kind of late in the day after they had already arrived or were on the plane towards Jamaica, we got this drop of this video of the two of them scuba diving together looking at this reef, which was totally crazy and unexpected. I was not expecting that in the slightest. I did read somewhere else that Kate got her certification in 2015, so they have been scuba diving for a while. I would love to know where they've been and what they've done. Like, that's just so crazy to me. I've always kind of had an interest in scuba diving because I've had an interest in like underwater archaeology. However, like, that also seems very scary. And so it was just crazy to see that they've really, you know, done something like that. And so it was really great to see them kind of swimming with little sharks and fishes and kind of going and looking at the reefs and everything. So it was just looked like they had a fantastic time. And that was such a little nugget to leave. And they have already arrived in Jamaica. Today will be their first full day in Jamaica, but it looked like they had a packed schedule yesterday. So they're really trying to fit in as much as possible. And so guys, this is all I have for this video. I just want to say it seems like I just missed the beach. I'm going to the beach next month and I'm so excited. It's been so long. And so I'm so jealous of their little time there. And I'm so glad though that we got to see them on tour. Oh my gosh. It's been way too long since we've seen any royals on tour, really. Kind of internationally and everything. And so it's great to see like the world is finally getting back to normal, because that's what we need. If you're a royal watcher, you love tours. Like, there's no getting around it. You love tours. All right, so guys, if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please feel free to subscribe as well. If you haven't already, I'll be doing Jamaica and then the Bahamas later this week. I'll be doing probably individual videos on each of those, and so it'll be really great. And then again, a fashion video on Friday, even though it won't cover everything. And so thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys again very, very soon. Bye.